Hello friends, welcome to my videos. So today I'm going to talk about parent sponsorship in Canada. So everyone wants to live with their parents, and especially when you live in a country like Canada, you want to bring in your parents so that you can spend your life with them. So when you go for parent sponsorship, there are certain points you need to understand. That first of all, it's not like your spouse sponsorship which is uncapped. So every year the government releases a certain number of spots, so you have to utilize yourself within those spots. So for this year 2018, this number was 10,000. So that means they are gonna accept 10,000 applications under this category. Now a few years back, this process was first come first serve. So when the dates open, just send in your application, get everything ready and get it for yourself. But now this has changed. So now what happens? First you need to file an interest to sponsor your parents, and then it gets into a draw. Then after a draw is conducted, if you are selected, you get an email, you get, I mean to say, an invitation, and after that you get 60 days to apply. So within 60 days, you need to submit the entire application, and the entire application consists of two parts, like your sponsorship, spouse sponsorship application, sponsors approval, and then the sponsored person's approval. In other terms, the principal applicant's processing. So in case of parent sponsorship, if you are going to be the sponsor and your parent or grandparent, they are going to be the principal applicants. So let me show you some important facts about it. So as I said, first you need to tell that you want to apply under this. Then this gets closed, and then they send you an invitation if you are selected. Now, everyone, I mean, I should not use the word everyone, but people, most of them got the invitations at a date range, but it's not fixed. Like if you get an invitation today, your friend may get tomorrow. So there was not a fixed date when everyone got the invitations to apply. But yes, they send the invitations to 10,000 people, I think so. But if all 10,000 people do not apply within the time, then based on the number of spots, they may pick up another. What I mean to say, for example, out of 10,000, if 9,000 people send their applications, then CIC may invite next 1,000 from the draw. So this is how it works. So once you get the invitation to apply, the next thing is to get the application package. So this is the checklist, and I'm gonna walk you through this. However, what we are gonna do first, we are gonna find out what are the things you need to fulfill before you can be marked an eligible person to be a sponsor. So let's see that. Okay. So in order to sponsor, you should be 18 years of age or older, living in Canada, and Canadian citizen or permanent resident, and this second category, person registered in Canada as an Indian under Canadian Indian Act. And there's a warning also, and that is very simple to understand, that you're gonna, if you are selected, you can only sponsor your own parents. You can't be a co-signer to your spouse, parent, or grandparents. Okay. So you need to meet certain income requirements. This is very important because the same thing is going to be asked in your documents also. So this is the table. So it depends, like if you are living as a family of two persons, then what is your minimum income? And if you're invite, let's say your mom and dad, so then you're going to be four persons. So do you meet this minimum income criteria? If not, then you are not eligible to apply. You are financially not eligible to apply, because when you invite, you should meet certain minimum uh, income requirements to be able to support their expenses, including yours. But yes, if you have certain criminal convictions, you may not be able to apply. So you can see if you are in prison, defaulted on an immigration loan, declared bankruptcy, and there are certain other uh, points. So if you fall among them, then you are not eligible to apply as a sponsor. In that case, you cannot sponsor. So when you fill up the forms, it's very important to fill it along with this instruction guide, because the instruction guide is going to tell you step by step how you fill up the forms and then send your application, because it's very important to fill up your application correctly, including all the signatures, photographic requirements, etc. Because if your application is incomplete and they returned it back to, it's like a very bad situation for you, because it totally depends upon the luck to get an invitation, and once you get an invitation, wasting it like this doesn't make any sense. Okay, so here is what this is the instruction guide. If you take a look, so it tells you everything, that how you'll be eligible to become a sponsor, and it also tells you the criterias, and it also tells you how you can calculate your family size, what you're going to count. And like other Canadian immigration processing, you should have your documents either in English or French. If you don't have in these two languages, then there's a process of submitting certified translated copies. So then you can go for it. So here you need to go through it. The first one, 1344. So if I go for 1344, okay. So this is the form 1344. Does it look familiar? Well, if you have sponsored your spouse, this does look familiar. So this is what I believe. So let's proceed. So the question number one. So most of us selected this. Yes. So language for correspondence, you can select English or French, whatever you want. Is there a co-signer on this application? So suppose like you have a wife and she has certain income sources. So if you're not meeting up the minimum income required in order to sponsor your parents, you can get her as a co-signer, and then the income will be combined. Or else if your income is sufficient enough to sponsor, you can just sponsor on your own. Then you need to enter the person you're sponsoring as their names, okay, and then the relationship you need to put here, and all other pieces of information. Now here you need to put your information because you are the sponsor. So put your information in this section, your contact information, residency declaration. Yeah, this assessment is very important, so make sure you read these instructions very carefully when you fill it up, because one wrong answer here and you could be marked ineligible. On the other hand, never ever do any misinterpretation. If you think there's a problem in your application, so better consult a professional, better do some research how you can come out of the problem and then apply, instead of doing misinterpretation. Never do misinterpretation, because Canadian rules are very strong when it comes to misinterpretation. Don't go for misinterpretation under any circumstance. This section you need to fill co-signer if you have a co-signer. If you don't, you don't need to bother about it. So if you see, even from a co-signer, similar questions have been asked, and then at the end you got to validate. So if it is validated, you will get a message that this form has been validated. Now here it's very important, sponsor signature, your signature should be here. You can select the date on which you sign, and if you have a co-signer, see there's a message if co-signer. So if a co-signer is signing this form, then only you need to grab their signature, otherwise you don't. Similarly, sponsored applicant, the principal applicant needs to sign this form. So if you have more than one person included in this in your application, like if you're both mom and dad, then both of them need to fill this form on their own. Now, if we see here, there are two next documents: financial evaluation for parents and grandparents. Second is income sources for the sponsorship of parents and grandparents. So you don't need to fill both of these. What happens, like if you reveal your social insurance number in one of these forms, this one, so in that case, don't need to fill the second form, because based on your social information number, social insurance number, I apologize, uh, the department will be able to take out your information from CRA. So with that, your income will be found. So in that case, it's going to be very easy for them to determine if you are eligible to sponsor or not. Let's go for it. So here again, it asks you a question: if your spouse or common law signing this application. If you select yes, then only you need to put this information. Otherwise, you need to go for no. Then your full name, and there are other information like number of persons, current undertaking, previous undertaking, and yes, here is the SIN number. If you do this and sign, they are gonna ask for the information from CRA. If not, you need to fill the next form. So it's a very simple form. You just need to put the correct information, and that's it. They're gonna pull your financial information from CRA. So the next document we are going to discuss is Schedule A. So Schedule A needs to be submitted by the principal applicant and their spouses, both, and if they have any dependent children above 18 or 18 or above 18. So when children fill this form, you must be aware what do you mean by dependent children. So don't go for like if you have children, anybody who is above 18 needs to file. No, you can see this message clearly here: dependent children only need to file this form, and not all. I mean, they need to fill this form. When you fill for the first time, you don't have UCI, you don't have an application number, so you can't put that. But yes, other details, personal details, details of your parents, and be very careful about filling up other information. These are very basic questions and you can easily fill up. Make sure the dates and other pieces of information match with exactly what you have done, and as per your documents, so that if you are asked for additional documentation, you can always provide as per what is given in your application. And at the end, you have to sign. So this is like electronically signing, so you can just put your name and date and click on validate. Then that's it, the form is ready. So if your I mean if your parent or grandparent, I mean to say the principal applicant, has a common law union, then this form needs to be signed. Otherwise, no. If they have additional dependents, then this is required. If they have additional family, then this is required. And use of a representative, if you are applying through an authorized citizenship and immigration, or I should say IRCC agent, then you need to fill this form. If you are doing it on your own, then you don't need to submit this form. So I'm going to discuss two forms now. One is generic application form for Canada. This is something that everyone, whoever wants to come to Canada, needs to fill up. It has got various categories, various pieces of information, and basically this is going to find out what exactly you want to do in Canada. So I'll take you through. Probably because of my browser, you see this message, but otherwise you see the category, program under which you are applying, category under which you are applying, your personal details. Of course, if you are applying for the very first time, you don't have your UCI. Then your citizenship, where you are living, and if you have lived in other countries, all such piece of information are here. Contact information, So this is very easy to fill up. Just make sure you fill it up correctly, and it's always good to have a second check before you submit your application, and always make sure that you have filled all piece of information correctly in all the forms, because what happens, like, we all humans, so we may do mistakes. So if you do a small piece of mistake in one form, for example in your date of birth, if you put one digit wrong, so you get the feeling, oh my god, what's going to happen if you realize this after you submit your application. So make sure you always check your application before you submit, and you do it with uh, a lot of clarity and with lot of focus. So focus on your application, see what you are writing, and then submit. You have some consent pieces of information also you need to fill up, and here uh, you can put the date, and then once you take the printout you can sign it, and then that's it. So your application is your this form is filled up, because once you validate, in if you have missed any mandatory piece of information, that is gonna be popped up, that information is gonna be popped up. So you can always pick on that, and if you have missed anything, you can just always go and correct your mistake. So again, like schedule A, the principal applicant, their spouse or common law partner, and all dependent children 18 years of age or older must complete their own copy of this form. Okay, so it says complete all names in Arabic and your native language. So what I suggest people to do in this case, as I have done in my applications, because I first sponsored my wife and then my parent. So what you are supposed to do here is uh, you submit two copies of this uh, form, one in English and one in your native language. I mean, every applicant should submit two copies. So what you can do, like, first fill up these columns where you have date of birth, country of birth, present address, email address. Fill up this, sign. Okay, fill up this, I mean to say. Then put a date, and then take a print. Then you fill up other pieces of info, I mean names here, and then again you take a print and sign. So now the first printout you took had all the pieces of information except names. It got date of birth, present address, status, country of birth, email address, everything. So once you have the first printout where only the name is missing, that you can write in your native language. And the second printout you took has all the names in English already, along with the status, country of birth, email address. So you don't need to worry about anything. Just go ahead with this. But yes, as I have always said, always have a clear check of the pieces of information you have entered to make sure you do not end up facing any problem later. And once your application is ready and you have paid the fee, you have to send your application on this address. So here you see the post box number. So although they have written that if you are sending by courier service, still use the same address. But with me, what happened, I went to a courier shop. They said they couldn't send on this PO box number. So again, I had to go back to Canada Post in order to mail it. So the fee you need to pay, you can find out here, that what is the amount you're gonna pay. And the second piece of fee, this right of permanent residence fee, I always say pay it together. Do not delay it for a later time, because you can pay it later also, but in order to avoid delay, it's always good to pay in advance, so that your application is not put on hold in order to recover the second portion of the fee. So always you make sure that you do not delay your application because of this reason. And yes, when it comes to photographs, see the criterias and what is expected. Make sure you read it correctly, and You go to a good photographer and capture the pieces of information from uh, the photographer, like date, name and address of the photography studio, and you include. This checklist is something you must provide, and if there's something that you cannot provide, you need to provide a detailed explanation also. And you gotta check whatever you are providing, so that is important. Now when it comes to supporting document, so you need to prove that you are either a citizen or a permanent resident. So, and also if you were born in Canada, then you are of course a Canadian, so you can use your Canadian birth certificate also, and you can just select once you have this. So if you have a spouse who is a co-signer, then you need to provide the photocopy of your marriage also. So if you again, if you have a co-signer, then you need to provide uh, a supporting document of their status in Canada too. And of course, now this part is very important: principal applicant's relationship to sponsor. So suppose you are sponsoring your parents, I mean to say your mom and dad, then birth certificate you need, and that has to be in English of course, otherwise you need to submit a translated certified copy. Okay, and if you're sponsoring mother or father of your mother or father, I mean your grandparents, then you need to provide a photocopy of your parents birth certificate as well, so that the department can establish the relationship, because when you sponsor, it's very important. And if your principal applicant, I mean your parent or grandparent, is being accompanied by dependent children, then you need to provide birth certificate of each dependent children as well. And for each accompanied dependent, you need to provide recent photographs also. And this is applicable when you answer no to question number 16 or 8 in your financial evaluation for parents and grandparent sponsorship. Then you need to provide proof of income or notice of assessment issued by CRA. So these are the supporting documents. So you can just go through it. It's very easy to understand, and make sure you provide all the information as asked. And if you cannot provide anything, even a minor document that you think, so make sure you give them a clear explanation that is acceptable, as they have clearly mentioned on top of this. And that's how you uh, proceed with the application, and then you can mail it. And once your application is received, they are going to find out if this is complete. If your application is complete, you are going to get an acknowledgement of receipt. Then the first step of the processing will be the sponsor evaluation. If you are approved as a sponsor, then the application will be transferred to the local visa office of the principal applicant, and then they will take the next set of actions. And this is how it goes. But yes, there is no time, I mean there is no processing time, a confirmed processing time for this, because if you check their website, they show you, let me show that. So I'm in the processing time section, so I selected sponsoring a family member, parents and grandparents, get processing time. So currently they are working on January 2014 applications. So you can imagine now we are in 2018. So there is no confirmed processing time. Like if you select here, like spouse or common law partner living outside Canada, I haven't applied yet. If you select, let's say India, 12 months, the standard processing time. So there is no such standard processing time, or I should say the average processing time for working on parent and grandparent sponsorship applications. So that's why you never know when your application is gonna be processed for sure. But yes, what you can do from your side is make sure your application is complete, and in case of any address change, any status change, any information change, you inform the department as per their instructions, so that it is not gonna put on hold due to any mistake you do. So I hope you like this video. Make sure you give it a like and comment, and if you have if you want to ask me any question, please do not hesitate to put as a comment. Thank you.